take a quick look at the hardware first before we get into the screen. Up top, we have 5 XLR. Underneath, you have 5 combo jacks. Up here, we've got left and right stereo in, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are your outs. They are 1/4 inch and not XLRs, but we do have XLR left and right main outs here. USB in, USB, and then here is network. Now, I'll show you how I have the app working because the CQ12 does not have built-in Wi-Fi, but there's a little hack that I'll show you how to do it. Right here is the key thing. So here's my network cable. So that's network cable that's going down, and then right here is an Eero router. This thing is like an Amazon thing. It's pretty easy, pretty slick. All you got to do to get that working is set it up like a real Wi-Fi router. So you have to make it real at first. So connect it into internet, get it set up your username, password, all that stuff. And I'm just using 2-sided tape to connect that to my Furman. And then right here, once you made a network for it, it's as easy as going into your network. And the network I created, I called it Mixer. So it's connected to the Mixer. We got a Wi-Fi signal, which by the way, is really strong. Then we open up the CQ app, and then you'll see it's right there, CQ12, and you just connect to it. And we're in. I'm telling you, it's as easy as that. It didn't cut away. Nothing easy. It always starts on a processing page, which is a little bit annoying. I don't know if you can change that, but if we go over here to fader, this is where have your faders, and this is my custom screen right here. And then if we go to faders on here, you'll see that as I move it there, I'm moving it. I'm going to keep doing that. You see how it moves it here. So this is what I do during the night. And right here's a spot if you want to put an SD card in there, then you can record anything from speeches and toasts, and you can add that as an add-on. Or if you want to record your set, you can do that as well. Nice thing about this one, it does have built-in Bluetooth, and here's a little, I don't know what this is, if it's the signal or whatever, but that's right there. We do have some physical buttons on the outside as well. 1, 2, 3 buttons. These are customizable, so you can make these be whatever you want. Here is a knob that you can turn around if you want to not use your finger on the touch screen, you can use that. We've got configurations, processing, fader, effects, and home. And I'll show you we'll walk through those too as well. You can't see, but right in the front, we have a headphone jack, and that is 1/4 inch, not 1/8 inch. If you want to shut it down, like at the end of the night, you got to hit the home button. There's a shutdown button right there. Let's go ahead and go right into it. And so I like to start going right into the fader, and this is what the screen will look like. At the top here, you got inputs 1 through 5, which is the top ones right here. And then if you tap over here, we've got 6 through 10. And this is another one. This is, I changed the name of that to music. That's your left and right. You've got your USB, your Bluetooth, and your FX channels and your outputs. These are all the ones over here. As you see, I already labeled a couple of them. This one is for video. That's an out too. This one is if I want to do a remote, and then I have more. You got 6 total of those. You see right here, it says custom. Now, if you tap on that, now this is my custom home screen, which is probably like one of my favorite parts about this. When I had the Touchmix, you had to, 1 through 5, and you need to tap over if you wanted to get to other inputs, but you can customize whatever your front screen is here. You can make that whatever it is you want it to be. Right now, I have it set to my 2 handhelds are 1 and 2. My DJ controller is that one, remote, video, and Bluetooth. And there's 2 more spots here if I wanted to add effects or if I wanted to have anything else I could put in there. So I love the fact that it does that. If we go over here to configure, this is the spot where you can set your gains, where you can rename things. So as you see, input 1 and 2 are my handhelds. If you tap on that, that's where you can name it whatever you want and set it to a color. Now, when I talk to somebody, Alan Heath, here's how they explain to me that auto gain and gain assistant are, it's not going to like up your level. So if you got a quiet talker, that's what I originally thought, that it would be great if you have somebody that's quiet talking and it'll just like boost the gain up for you automatically. It doesn't really do that. It's more for preventing distortion. So you just got to keep an eye on that. But what I do is when I get to a gig, I sort of talk really quiet into the mic, like the quietest talker you'll have, set up the feedback, which I'll get to in a second, and then set the gain to that. So that's kind of like what I've been doing with that. With the DJ one, I did link 7 and 8 together for music, but because auto gain doesn't work the way I thought, which was the fact that I thought if a song was quiet, it would pull it up. So I'm going to unlink these, and you can see I have them stereo linked. You can unlink those or link them up if you want by tapping that. I'm going to move over to left and right for my controller, but this is where you can set the gain. So you just tap on that and you raise it up just like that. By the way, guys, the most intelligent way to learn how to use this mixer is to watch all of the tutorials that Alan and Heath made, and I'll put those in the descriptions because I'm not going to go super in depth on how to do all this. They do a much better job explaining it. I'm just going to give you an overview and show you how I have it set up after I watch those videos. You want to set up Bluetooth. Again, you got to go to configure, tap on this part right up here, and just tap on Bluetooth. Discoverable. As you see, I have my phone connected to it. You can forget it. You can set a pin if you want, make it discoverable. When we go over here to control the network, here's where you can set your foot switch. If you want to mute your groups, your DCAs, and the custom layer. So remember when I showed you earlier, I had that custom layer. This is where you set that. So you go to custom layer and you just tap on it, and then you pick whatever you want to be in that spot, and it will show up right there in your feed. Over here in processing, how I use processing was if you tap on one of your channels, then it's going to pull up a real simple EQ space, and I have my vocals set to speech on both of them, and I turn the compression on, and I left the EQ, at normal there. But as you see here, there's high pitch, low pitch, choir, lectern, lapel, broadcast, and ESS. I don't know what ESS is. I have no idea. But I have both of my handhelds set to that, and I have the compression on. When I go to DJ, this is just EQs. Again, you can set that to, this is set on easy EQ. So, low, mids, highs, if I wanted to adjust those, then you just tap on that. And does it move that way? No. Once you tap on it, then you just move your dial this way, and then you can set it to how you want. Processing is mostly where I will work on anti-feedback. So let's go to that. So once you tap on processing, you got to get to your outs. So I'm gonna turn my custom off, and you got to go to your outputs and FBA, feedback assistant. So what we want to add the microphones is your feedback assistance on your main left and right. So we'll tap on FBA, and this is it. So right now I have it set on hold, but if I wanted to, what I would do is turn my mic on. I set my RTA to on. Discovery, they told me to keep it around 2. You don't want it like too much, but they said around 2 o'clock is good. And then we're gonna unhold it. And so then you will talk in your mic, turn it as loud as you want, get those feedbacks, and then you'll start to see it will adjust. It'll kind of move around and get it set to where you want. Now, the reason why mine is clear is because what I've been doing is after speeches are over, I clear all this so that my music then doesn't have all these frequencies pulled out. So something you got to keep track of. Now, there's a way that you can save it. And so what I was thinking, and I asked them, and they said that's a good idea, is if you go over here, then you can save it, and it says FBA reset. So then what I'm gonna do is set like speeches to a certain point and save it, and then recall it whenever I wanna, whenever it's speeches time. And maybe I'll see if I can set that to one of my custom buttons, or you just grab it here. Does that make, I hope that makes sense. If you wanna clear it, here's what you do. You tap on this right here. It says reset. You hit reset, the whole thing goes red. Just tap reset. Once you have your frequencies set, you can set it to live, which means that as the person is talking, it will start making adjustments, or you can just hold it. You put that and it's hold, then it's all set. I'll be honest, I haven't used much of the effects here because I don't do this. I don't need to turn on effects. I don't need to turn on reverb or anything like that. But if you go to the FX tab, this is where it pulls it up again. I'm in easy mode just to make sure I don't screw anything up. Your inputs and outputs, here's your control. And again, there's PEQ access here and outputs. So I don't have much to tell you guys about this because I don't really do many effects as a mobile DJ. One thing I like about this over the Touchmix is firmware updates. Now we've got version 1.2.1. Now I believe that a new version has come out, and you can do updates either directly into this or through the app, which is what I will most likely do. And once I get it all connected, maybe we'll do the update. But that's one of the big advantages that this has. Touchmix hasn't been updated since the Vikings won the Super Bowl. You can rename the unit if you want. You can set your screen, your LEDs, and your backlight all by going into system and your preferences. If you want to record, you'll go to home, hit record, and then you'll have to have something in there. And, basically just hit that, bam. I have had people ask me, Aaron, why are you doing an external mixer? What's the point of using that if you are a mobile DJ? And I think the main reason for me is microphones. speeches and mics are such a big part of being the mobile DJ. So having a mixer gives you the opportunity to mute very quickly. You can run it through processing. You can do the feedback assistant, which I showed you. You can dial in the EQ to make it sound better. All that stuff is possible now. I know with a lot of the speakers coming out that have built-in mixers, but the ease of having everything plugged into one thing. And then the reason why I went digital, and I know I could do this a lot cheaper, and you could as well, but I like toys. I don't know if you're like me, you want a toy. It's a toy. It's got touch screen. It has the app. So basically, I have this mounted into my DJ booth, and then I run the entire night off of the app. And let me show you how to do that. Here's how I have all the cables plugged in. My microphones are in 1 and 2, and I'm using a lot of these angled connectors to make it work. Now I have the controller in stereo left and right, which leaves the whole front panel open here for if I need to plug anything else in. Now, the only issue I'm having right now is all of my outs are covered. You know, I do have these right angled connectors that are my left and right to the mains. Those can spin out. So as of right now, I don't really need any of my auxes out because right now videographers just plug in directly into EV70 because it has a mix out. Let's take a look at the firmware update. Let's do this together. New firmware found. Okay, I have never done this before, so let's see if it just works by doing that. This will stop the current mixpad session. Yes. Is it update? Please confirm the update on the screen. Yes. There we go. Oh my God, look at this. Over the air firmware update. Nice. Okay, so after you do the software update, you do have to restart it. So we're gonna restart, it's gonna shut down. That wasn't too bad. It's rebooted, ready to go. The app sees it again. Let's connect. And we're back. Okay, it wasn't too bad, guys. That was not too bad at all doing that update. So now we are at the updated version 1.2.2. I think some of the biggest differences between the Allen Heath CQ12 and the Touchmix 8 has more combo jacks, you know, more channels, like more actual XLR channels and things that you can plug into. This one doesn't have any Bluetooth and the other one does. I think the feedback wizard also is a lot easier in the Allen Heath than it is on the Touchmix. They both offer it, but I think it's a little clunkier on this one. The thing that this one has over it though is physical gain knobs that you have on the mixer. You've got XLR aux outs. I mean, you got 4 of those. The built-in Wi-Fi, I talked to Allen Heath and what they said, not Alan, I talked to Alan. I did talk to a representative from them, and they said that with the Wi-Fi, it is a hardware, not a software thing. So adding built-in Wi-Fi to the CQ12 is not going to happen because it doesn't have the hardware in it. So if that is something that you want, if you don't want to do this workaround, and it's not a workaround, they tell you that's what it can do, but I'm not going to lie. They should have just put that in this. What difference does it make? I don't understand this. That's my biggest gripe with it. But if you do want that, the 18 and the 20, they both have built-in Wi-Fi, so you don't have to have one of these in order to use the app. But if you're not in a situation like I am where you don't need to use the app, then you don't need any of this, and so it's fine. But that's the advantage that the Touchmix has for sure. Now remember, it's not built-in Wi-Fi; it's this dongle in the back, so it's not like it's a hardware thing. I actually tried to plug this into the Allen Heath to see if it would work, and it didn't because that was a stupid idea. But let me know in the comments what you think. If you are a Touchmix user, is this an upgrade for you? Are they missing features? Did I miss something in the review? Let me know. I've been using the CQ12 for about 4 gigs right now, and after my first gig, I gutted out my booth, took the Touchmix out, and completely switched over to it, mainly for those reasons I was telling you. It's newer, it's updated. I think it's a little cleaner user interface. I think everything sounds a little bit better out of it as well. I think my music sounds better. And then I mentioned it in the video, I never limit now on my speakers, and I don't know what's going on. There's no compression that I have on it, but it just sounds a little bit better coming out. I appreciate you guys watching it. If you want to pick one of these up, link is in the description from Sweetwater. Those guys are awesome. They'll take care of you. This video was sponsored by them. So shout out to Sweetwater for making this possible, hooking me up with a representative for Allen and Heath. They're one of my go-to spots to pick anything up. They're quick shipping, and if anything goes wrong, they'll take care of it for you. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you at the next one.